With the release of Fantastic Four, Marvel has completed its slate for the 2025 year. Hi, my name's Zach, and today we're going to rank all 3 Marvel movies released in theaters in the year 2025. Like many of you, I started this YouTube channel because I cannot watch a movie without needing to talk about it afterwards. And if that sounds like you're in the right place, consider clicking that subscribe button. Also, I want this to be a conversation between me and you, so put your ranking of all 3 Marvel movies that released this year down in the comments below. What's the best? What's the worst in your opinion? I would love to hear your story. With all that out of the way, let's kick this off with my last place at number 3, Captain America: Brave New World. After Anthony Mackie got handed the shield from Chris Evans at the end of Avengers Endgame, we've been waiting for him to get his first outing as the true Captain America. We got to see his transition in Falcon Winter Soldier on Disney+, but we finally got his theatrical debut in theaters this year, and this is a movie where superficially I found it pretty entertaining. It's got the Marvel formula down pat, where it's got some fun humor, it's got some fun action, and it's not very deep with its story, but you can watch it and be perfectly entertained. But even though I walked out of the theater, haven't had a decently enough good time with this one, watching it on rewatch, I feel the movie got hurt a little bit more, where it's just kind of filled with a lot of baffling decisions, where you've got Anthony Mackie's first outing as Captain America. Instead of giving him a more personal story, instead of going deeper into his character and giving us a reason to love him as the new Captain America, they plop him in the middle of a Incredible Hulk sequel movie where they take elements, characters, and storylines that happened back in 2008, where the MCU's kind of treated the Incredible Hulk movie as the black sheep of the universe until recent years, especially when She-Hulk came out and they reintroduced the Abomination character and everything. But up until this point, the Incredible Hulk has kind of been an outlier, and so now they're making it a quintessential important movie to watch to understand Captain America: Brave New World. And that's just a really weird mixture to do with the first outing of Anthony Mackie's Captain America. It's not necessarily that a lot of stuff in here, I think anyways, is that terrible. Having Harrison Ford in here taking over the role of Thunderbolt Ross from the late and great William Hurt was a fantastic choice. Harrison Ford is great in the role, and I personally like the conflict and dilemma that they give to Thunderbolt Ross in the movie, and how he's treated the leader ever since we last saw him in The Incredible Hulk in 2008. I would have loved to have seen William Hurt be able to carry out that arc, but Harrison Ford is a great substitute for that. But overall, the script and the execution and the way that they've pieced this movie together, it does feel like it was reshot, and in fact, it was reshot many times over the last couple months. It doesn't all come together in a cohesive way. It's just not that strong of a movie, and it's a pretty disappointing outing for Anthony Mackie as Captain America. And unfortunately, I actually think it hurt Anthony Mackie's debut as Captain America. I don't know that this movie won a lot of audiences over to him as the character, even though Anthony Mackie is not the problem in this movie whatsoever. It's just a really unremarkable, kind of lackluster and messy script. But it is the movie that my wife went into labor in, so it's always going to have a special place in my heart for that reason at least. Our runner-up, Fantastic Four: First Steps. And Marvel's First Family has had a very hard history when it comes to trying to get these characters correct on the big screen. For 20 years, they've tried to reboot, and it just never really panned out all that great, to where it kind of looked like the Fantastic Four was almost a cursed product from Marvel. And for years, especially after Josh Trank's 2015 Fantastic Four movie fell apart, fans have been clamoring and begging for Marvel to get these characters back. With the Disney Fox acquisition finally going through back in like 2019, they finally announced they were going to do a Fantastic Four movie, but Kevin Feige made it clear that they weren't going to move forward until they got the story right. And so you've got a number of years where people were waiting to find out what the cast was for this movie. We were waiting to find out who was going to direct it, when was this going to come out. It finally came out this year, and it absolutely broke the curse of the Fantastic Four movies. Marvel was able to find a way to create a chemistry with these characters where they were actually, for the first time on screen, a family. And not only a family, but a team, where this is the first Fantastic Four movie for me where each and every character in the team felt quintessential to the team. This team felt like it wouldn't function or work if any one of those characters was removed from it. On top of that, they set this in its own personal world, so it was outside of the MCU proper, so it was able to just kind of do its own thing, be its own thing, and give us a new reality to explore and invest in. They give it so much detail. There was so much thought put into this world that a lot of the times you're just as fascinated by the world they've created as you are with the characters and the storyline going on here. On top of the storyline, they've got Galactus coming in here to devour the Fantastic Four's world, and they've got to stop him. They give it very personal stakes. They keep the tension dialed up to 10 throughout the entire movie, where you truly are questioning how are the Fantastic Four going to stop this intergalactic being who is larger than life from coming down and destroying their planet. Galactus in here is so realized. His design is fantastic, very comic accurate. They give him a great motivation, and they make him legitimately terrifying. There's a couple of science mumbo jumbo thrown in here that, because they're on a separate world, you kind of buy into it. That when you really stop to kind of think about what they want to do in some of these scenarios, it does leave some questions to be had. Also, the movie does move incredibly fast with its pacing, and it does have a passage of time that takes place in the movie that's not entirely clear how much time has passed. But other than those tiny little gripes, this movie was fun. It introduced the Fantastic Four to the MCU in a way that you loved these characters and you are invested and want to see them move forward. It also got me really excited for the future of the MCU and where they're going, more than I've been in the last number of years. But coming in at number 1 for me is going to be Thunderbolts, where this was the movie for me that really felt like Marvel was getting back on track this year, where they took characters from Disney Plus shows and some Phase 4 movies that, and even in some cases Phase 3 when it comes to Ghost, that maybe weren't the highest performing characters, and they put them in this team ensemble, and they just made you fall in love with this team of misfits. It really does harken back to movies in Phase 3 and 2 of the MCU, where it feels like they had a clear vision of what they wanted this movie to be. It's not huge, it's not larger than life stakes that they're fighting. It's a personal story, it's a grounded story, it's a boots on the ground Marvel story, like we've seen in the past with something like Winter Soldier and even Civil War, but scaled down to a place where it's not overly budgeted, it's not overly extravagant with what it's trying to do. It's just trying to tell an intimate story with these characters about depression, about loneliness, and it really does tackle themes for the MCU that they haven't really delved into in the past before. On top of that, every actor here is fantastic, led by Florence Pugh, who gives probably her best performance she's given thus far as Yelena. Of course, David Harbour in here as Red Guardian is a huge standout comedic presence. I love what they did with John Walker coming off of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think they gave his character a redemption that he kind of needed, and I'm really looking forward to seeing each and every single one of these characters move forward in the MCU. The action was grounded and practical and looked great, and I really liked the storyline that went on with Sentry, introducing him into the MCU, how that played into the overall themes of depression and loneliness that they introduced with the rest of the characters, how they all fit together at the end as a team. They managed to make it feel like, even though these characters come from very different backgrounds, very different places, when they come together at the end of this film, it truly does feel like they have become a team and that they are meant to be this team together. After Captain America Brave New World, where it was kind of clear how many problems that movie had, and they tried to patchwork it and tried to fix it in post-production and doing reshoots, and it just didn't fully come together. Going to Thunderbolts is a night and day difference, where this feels like the MCU is focused, on track, know what they wanted to do with this movie, and just went with it. Jake Schreier, I should say, who directed this movie, my takeaway from this movie was that Marvel needs to lock him down like they locked down the Russo brothers. It looks like they're doing that because he is now in talks allegedly to do the X-Men, which I think after seeing this movie would be a fantastic choice. Thunderbolts was the return to form for me for the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2025. It got me excited to see more of their movies. The follow-up with Fantastic Four only continued to increase that. So for that reason, the Thunderbolts, or I guess I should say the New Avengers, comes in as my number one favorite Marvel film in 2025. Give me your ranking of the Marvel films this year down below. If you like content like this, I got more content right up there you can check out. Also, right down there is the most recently uploaded video to the channel. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And don't just watch movies, talk movies. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.